Okay, hopefully this is be the last video in this kind of series that has taken more videos than I figured. But we're going to have this completed game hopefully at the end here, so we will have a product at the end. Where we left off, we had the UI set up earlier on, and we were mainly working within the script from now. So those two game objects, the intro text and then instruction text, were set up there. And we've just been working with them just to kind of get used to the interaction in between the game itself and game elements and the code behind. And so we were spending a lot of time in the last tutorial within the code. And so let's just kind of just review where we're at here. Like I said, we had the text objects that we have linked to those text objects within Unity set up there. We have some public variables, and notice the scope of these. They're right within this text controller. And so that I can access them throughout my code here. We have two kind of basic events that are firing right within this script. This void start fires right as soon as this script is initialized, and then we have the other kind of, it's almost like a looping update that happens every time once per frame this is going to happen. And so within that update is where we're going to be looking for user interaction. And so the first thing that we looked for was the key press up, which we did if key press up, if this value is true, the up arrow. And then we changed the minimum to half, okay? And then we moved the code from here into this public method down here, check, so we didn't repeat it, because we're going to use that same code again if that down arrow's checked. And so the only difference that happens between an up arrow and a down arrow is it's going to set our minimum value different. So some things I noticed while going through this code. One thing that we do need to do after we kind of, in that first startup, there's just one line of code we need to do. We need to increment the max value by 1 when we start up. And so I just put max plus plus, and we want that to happen after that initial screen there. And so that will make the max value 1001, and so that actually makes our code work. I don't want to spend too much time on why that we need to increment just once there, but we only want to do that on startup, so that max is incremented here to 1001 after that text is displayed. So the last bit that we needed to add within the update is when the right number is actually guessed by the computer, we need another else if statement here, so we can put that in. And so else if, and the autocomplete is driving me nuts. Else if input dot get key down. And then the key code we want this time is we want to have key code dot, and this time the enter button is actually return. And then close our brackets again, and then have that kind of if else statement there. And then we should be set up. And so make sure my brackets match. The if and else if statements are all on the same level, so I want to keep them there. And then this update ends here. I don't need this extra kind of white space there. And then any kind of methods that I have, I'm just going to keep them all together. It's good to organize your code and make sure that you're commenting it properly. And so down here, if they actually guess the right answer, what we want to do is this time we want to actually, in the instructions, say instruct dot text equals great work you won. Okay, and so we want that text to happen there, and then after the fact we may want it to kind of start up again. So maybe we need a button here pressed that's going to let us restart. So maybe let's make the letter S would be a restart. So let's put another. So if they need to press return if it's the right one, and then when they press return, it's going to say great work, you won. So I was able to kind of check that if that's the case. and then let's have a button here for restart. So let's go else if input dot get key down is key code dot, let's go s, and again close our brackets off here and there. Let's have kind of that maybe startup code run again. So great work, you won. Let's add some more stuff there to our instructions. Press S to restart the game. Okay, and so we got instructions there. This is gonna, and then we have the if else here. So input get key down key code S. That seems to work for me. What we want is that kind of start to happen again though. So we're going to have a few things that we want to make sure happen there. First of all, some of this code I think I want to move inside here. So let's just copy this code here and let's move that code inside our startup. And then let's get rid of the initialization of those variables. And we'll put that within the start. And then let's just clean up here, same kind of thing. We're just going to have them initialized there, and that's all. And then basically our startup code, because we wanted that to fire on initial startup, but we also want to fire it if we press the S button down here. So we're going to repeat that code again. So let's add another method that contains all of this code here. So I'm just going to cut that code out of there, and we're going to didn't want to hover there, and then we're going to go down here right underneath our kind of void check. We're going to make another method, another one that doesn't have a return value, void, and we'll just call it start, or let's call it something different. Let's call it on start, and then there, and then this method will have contain that code, Control V. And so we can have that start method here. Notice that I have the start methods all the methods all together down here at the bottom. And we'd want that to fire not only on start. I said on start, right? We want that to happen there. And then we want that also to happen up here at the top on start. Some kind of text error just happened here. I don't think that that's going to be serious. And I'm just going to tab this over, make that kind of look good. So on start, we're going to get that functionality happening. We're also going to get it when we hit the correct one. So let's just check our text here and make sure this is working. File, save. Let's go back to Unity and try and play this and see what happens. Okay, so welcome to Number Guesser, pick a number. So I have a number in my head. We'll say my number is 227. And so it says, is the number greater than 500? It's less than. 250, it's still less than. So I'm pressing down, greater than that, it's greater than that, it's greater than that, it's less than that, it's greater than that, it's less than that, it's less than that, and now it's got the right number. So now I hit enter. It's going to say, great work, you won. Press S to restart the game. Press S, and things should start over. And I'm kind of in business, so my code is looking pretty good. So again, I could play another number. 727 we'll say is my number. So it's greater than 500, less than, greater than that, greater than that, greater than that, less than that, greater than that, less than that, less than that. And it's got the right number. And then we're starting over again. So my number guesser game works perfect. Some other things. So let's just wrap up this video here. So we just tested, we made sure that our code is working. So we know all our code's working. One last thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is that original kind of, the text here that we have, those long kind of series of text. Press. I guess now that we have them within methods, that's okay. It's a little less repetitive, but still, I could probably, for example, this chunk of text here. Let's just turn that into a string. So I'm going to cut this out. Cut that out, and I'm going to just call that text instruct. And then I'm going to make a variable at the top that's actually going to handle that. And so let's put a variable up here so I don't have that repetitive text everywhere. Let's go string text instruct equals, and then let's put a text there. Just because it's a repetitive text that we use in a few places, and then just, so rather than have to type in that text manually, it's just a good habit to kind of have that. And so we're going to go back down to that method there where I had that text, and now that's in there, text instruct. And I think that I had that repeating here as well. And so let's just put text instructs there just to kind of show you another way that you can kind of, it's not perfect, but another way that you can kind of shorten the amount of code and kind of get rid of some of the reusing of code. And so since I had that same phrase repeated twice, I might as well have code in there that kind of, or a variable in there that takes that in. And then if I do want to change those instructions there, then I just need to change this string up here. So let's just play the game one more time and see if this is working. Save and then hit play. And then I think that's going to be it. So we'll say I have a number of 472. And so the numbers below, higher, 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 lower, lower, and that's the right number. I hit enter. And my game seems to be working right. So just a basic game. I know we're just working with text, but that is a game object. The text is one type of game object, and obviously you can work with X and Y coordinates and other things. Hopefully we'll do that in other videos. But this definitely gave you an intro to the basic Unity interface and MonoDevelop, and kind of how those two applications work together in Unity. Hope you had a good time. Talk to you later.